Good day, fret friends. It is a fine day this Thursday morning. It's my day off today from Royal Mail, so I'm going to do a refret. And the guitar I have in is a 2005 Gibson Les Paul. I do not remember the model, but here it is. Could be a standard, I don't know. Serial number dates it at 2005. Blah, 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 blah. Yep, very good. What a great looking guitar. But this definitely needs a refret. So I've talked to the owner. I'm going to go with the same size frets. My frets of choice are Syntons Elite, which is 25% nickel silver. Very, very hard. The hardest nickel silver fret wire on the planet at the moment. You'll notice that this guitar has nibs and binding. We're going to remove the nibs from the binding. I'm going to re-radius the fingerboard. And I'm going more or less like for like with fret wire. The closest I can get to this Gibson size is 2.5 mil. 2.5 mil wide by 1.2 high. I bought that in already. So that's what I'm going to be cracking on with today. I'm just checking the box because I've got, here you go. There you go, here's the stuff. Syntons Elite 2.49 mil. That's if you want to have a closer look at it. Really, really hard stuff, pre-radiused, so that's all ready to go. What I'm going to be doing first is I'm going to plug the guitar in, test it, play it, make sure the electrics are working fine, because it's having a setup as well, as do all guitars that come in for a refret. They all get a setup as well. So I'm not going to faff about today. It's just gone 9 AM in the morning. I want to get as much of this done as possible today, maybe even get it done. We will have to see. I'm not going to rush anything. I'm going to take my time. But yeah, lovely looking guitar, loved by its owner. So let's crack on and see what we can do. I'm not really going to talk while I'm stripping my guitar. I've just took the strings off. A couple of other things I'm going to do. I'm going to screw in the bridge posts all the way, just so they don't come loose. That's pretty good. And these stop tailpiece posts, just keeps them out of the way. Other things we're going to do, we'll drop the pickups right in. And they can get always covered up with tape. And when it comes to leveling the fingerboard or re-radiusing the fingerboard, nothing's in the way. They're recessed all the way in. Just keeping things out of the way. Also got to remove the nut. I'm having a new nut on here as well. I don't charge enough for putting a new nut on these things when I'm doing a refret. In fact, I don't charge for fitting the nut. It's just included in the price. Everything taken from the guitar goes in a pot. Stop top piece while we're done this right there. Tuners don't need to come off. Not is recessed. That'll be a bit of a bind to get out, possibly. I'm just gonna try and just loosen it just by tapping it with a hammer. We're not going to do anything, we're not going to hit it hard. Chances are that could just pull away. We don't want to break any of the wood or anything. What we'll do is, I'll have a look at that in a minute. Let's have a look at it right now. I'm going to take a Stanley blade. And just score this area, because we don't want to be taking any chunks out of anything. It has happened before, I've done it before. I'll get this in a vise and we'll tap this out in a short while. So everything more or less out of the way. take a straight edge and just see if we clear everything. We are well clear of everything. We've got a centimetre clearance here, which is fabulous. I've had the guitar plugged in, all the electrics work absolutely fine. This is just covering anything up so I don't get any dust or any metal particles or anything untoward anywhere. I'm going to be dropping this into the body as well. Just getting everything all out of the way and protected. I'll have to remove the back piece for this probably. I said I wasn't going to talk, but I can't not talk when I'm doing a video. So the problem with that fingernails as such. It's great, it's a spinner. It's a spinner this one, so I'm going to get a plier on there. Just want to remove the switch tip. It's got a crack in it, we're going to glue that, try and fix it up. Okay, I think we'll just stick some tape on there. The thing about that now is, even though that's still protruding, it's not going to get in the way when I file frets. I don't normally film this prep work, but today I would. So we're just going to cover this area, because when I'm filing frets later on, we're not going to be able to dig into the body because we've got it all protected and covered like so. So I'll be filing the frets this way, so we always protect the body. This is Scotch 3M tape, low tech. I buy this in bulk, I buy about 3 rolls at a time. It works out about 5-6 quid a roll. If you buy it a roll on its own, it's about 9 quid. So I always buy a few rolls at a time, normally 3 rolls at a time. And there you go, that's all this area protected, ready for removing the frets. Do I have a replacement knot? I'm not sure that I do, to be honest with you. I may have to go and order one. So this is not going to be done today. Something I overlooked. Just going to give that a tap. I've got something blunt-ended. Going to stick this in the vise and get this removed. I'm not going to film it. I'm going to crack on and get this done. Managed to remove the nut without any problems. Just a matter of getting it in a vise and just tapping this side, and it just came loose straight away. Here is the nut, came out relatively clean. A little tiny bit of wood, which you normally get underneath anyway. Chip wise, nothing to report there. Let's have a look. That came out really clean and nice. So I need to check see if we've got anything in stock. If not, I need to go and order something. Certainly not going to get anything before the weekend now, it's a little bit too late for that, but I may have something in stock. The problem with this is, using the old nut, chances are it's going to be too low because new fret wire is going to be higher. You can see why this needs a refret. Let's get it up to the camera. Look at the state of these. They have had it. There's no way we'd address them. So they are coming out. Going to crack on, get these out shortly. I'm going to be using a soldering iron to heat them up slightly. We'll get them pulled out, we're going to cut off the nibs and we're going to re-radius the fingerboard. So come back for that. Looks like I may have a nut to replace the one taken out. Looks to be just about the same. It's the Tusk equivalent or the Graphtec equivalent of the one I've taken out. It's a little bit wider, but we'll sort it out. We can always reshape this. Let's have a little look. Okay, it's an nth wider. That is not going to be a problem. We can file that down. It's certainly going to be high enough. So this is the one we're going to go with. String spacing is a little bit wider. We could change that if we need it. Oh, I don't know. That looks a pretty good match to me. So this is the one we're going to go with. I'm going to reshape this. I'm going to cut the edges. Nut slots wise. Are we any good? Are we matching? I want it as close as possible. Again. Oh, come on. That's good enough. That is 1/4 millimetre out. That is going to be absolutely fine. So there's the nut we're going to use. I don't think I've got anything better than that. Now that one is too wide for sure. Yep. So that's it, that is the one we're using. So we'll reshape this one, brand new. So that's all fine and dandy. So removing frets, I have an adapted soldering iron with a bent bit on the end there with a groove cut in. And this is going to help me heat the frets. I'm just going to choose a second one for now because I can reach it better. Wow, look at the gouges on that. Definitely a refret on this one. We're just going to heat the frets. We don't want to melt the binding. So we're just going to come inside. We're going to heat the fret slightly. Now you notice there's nibs and binding on this. So we're going to have to cut the frets inside the binding. This is why we charge extra. And we're going to get some heat in there. Shouldn't take too long. These should come out quite easily. But you never know. It depends if they're glued in or not and what glue they used. Go with that. I'm going to take my, I don't remember where I've put them, fret pullers. Bought these from GMW in Portugal, and these should get right underneath. No, never not. These are in good. Right, we're going to get in underneath and take the nib with it, I think. So look at this. These don't want to come out. That's going to be fun. There you go, I've got one there. I'm not even going to use a chip. I was going to use a chip stopper, but I'm not going to. Big chip tried to come out there. Right, I'm going to have to use a chip stopper. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to glue that back in a minute. So let's go again. Let's show you how we should remove that. Look at the state of these. We don't want any chipping. Now these are going to be a bit of a bitch to get out by the looks of it. They were glued in because they're bringing a lot of wood with them, or trying to. This just makes the job a little bit more awkward for me. I've really got to take my time. I'm going to be loosening the truss rod nut at some point so we can get the neck as straight as we possibly can. Hopefully it'll be straight with the truss rod nut loose. It should be. If it's not, we may have to force it into straightness, but we'll see about that later. I'm not getting a puff of smoke anywhere, so... Oh, that's hot. Definitely hot. Let's go again. I'm going to go right to the edge with this. And that's come out quite nice. Right, okay, so we've got the edge up. We're going to take chip stopper, StuMac chip stopper. I'm going to slide this under as we remove the fret. Now see, that one's come out beautifully clean. Okay, lesson learnt on that one. I'm just going to nib off that nib there. We're going to sand all this down anyway, so we can do it with the fret nippers. That's okay. So far so good. Just need to, they've got a small chip there, or when we try to pull out, we are going to glue that back in. I'll show you where we are with this. When this happens, or we get this occurrence of this happening, we always pull them back in. It's not going to lift up. That's great news. So I'm going to crack on. I'm going to get all of these out. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to have to, as you've seen, that one was really awkward. Let's just go one more on camera. Because the least amount of shipping we get, the least amount of repairs we've got to do to a fingerboard later. But these frets right down here on the G string there, wow, the wear is more or less right down to the wood. Bear with me a second. So the frets are out, they came out relatively clean. And my guitar and wood fret puller just wasn't really good enough. It wasn't pulling the frets out, I couldn't get underneath. So I've gone back to my old one. I don't remember where I bought this, I bought it years ago, it might have been from Germany. These pull frets superbly. And something else these are good for is removing the nibs. I've removed the nibs that side and some of them this side, but this, I've still got some nibs left here. I'm just going to remove them with these fret pullers because they are also cutters and they work really, really well. And that's removing the nibs. We're going to sand them down anyway because we're going to re-radius the fingerboard. So I'm just going to sit down and get these done because I can work better. And that is removing the nibs. And that is it, nibs are removed. We're going to sand all this down anyway. We're going to recut the fret slots. I do have a specific saw just for that. Let's grab hold. This is a piece, I don't even know what wood it is, it's super light wood with a blade in there, cuts both ways, by Hosco. That, there's no weight to that at all, that cost £25 about 4 or 5 years ago. The good thing about it is you can get it inside a fret, you can clear these slots and you're going to stay inside the binding. We don't want to cut through the binding, so it's just a matter of being really, really careful. You've got to push one way, pull the other. But it's great just for clearing out the slots. What I'm going to do is, when I've got a fingerboard sanded and re-radiused, I will coat it in mineral oil or lemon oil and I'll let it soak into these slots and it'll make it easier to clear them out. But that one is cut, we're not cutting through the binding, so that's fantastic. So I'll be using that plenty this afternoon. So we're ready to re-radius the board. So what I'm going to do first, what I'm going to check first is, I'm going to check see how straight the neck is or isn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get my neck dead straight. It's got a little bit of backbone in there by the looks of that. I've not checked anything. What I'm going to want ideally is, I want the truss rod loose, and we're going to see the condition of the neck with the truss rod loose. Now this should be the right one. So I'm going to loosen the truss rod and I'm going to see the state of the neck, because by rights the neck should be straight with the truss rod loose, and that is loose. And let's have a quick look. Okay, it's not straight, there is quite a bit of relief in there. So I'm hoping with just half a turn we'll have the neck straight, because if that's the case, so let's just get it to where it's nipping. Right, okay, that's just nipped on there, so I'm going to go 1/4 of a turn to here. I'm hoping that's going to be straight, because that's where I want it to be straight, with a quarter of a turn. And that, my friends, is really pretty good. I would allow myself half a turn, so if I go another quarter, which is there, and if that next dead straight, which it is, in fact there's a little bit of back bow in there, so I'm just going to turn it back. So we've gone, not even 2/3 of a turn, so we've gone about 3/8 of a turn, 2, 3, yeah, about 3/8 of a turn. And that neck is dead straight. That is where I'm going to re-radius the board, where that is there, because that is nice and straight. So the 3/8 turn, so just over a quarter. So it's a quarter and half a quarter. And that neck is, that's fantastic. That is where I'm going to re-level the fingerboard. So we should have a 12-inch radius there. Just going to check that. Beautiful 12-inch radius all along the length. Good thing about that is I have a 12-inch radius block with 240 grit sandpaper already on there. So with the neck where I want it to be, and as I want it to be, just going to grab hold of my 12-inch radius beam. Here it is. 12-inch radius beam, already got 240 grit on there, and it's just a matter of smoothing off the fingerboard. And now you see why I taped everything up with this. Lifting it and just going in one direction. And I can go both directions. We want to remove all of the rough bits. That already is smoothing off really nicely. Clean off the sanding block, give it a brush. Should be wearing a mask for this, it's rosewood dust. I've had blocked sinuses for a while, and this could be part of the reason why. That feels great. Just need to smooth these edges. This is also cutting slightly into the binding, so it's smoothing the edges where I've cut off the nibs. That, my friends, will do. smooth enough, but just going to check, see how level it is. And that is beautiful. And that is level all the way across. We're going to check the radius again. Make sure everything's all hunky-dory. Beautiful. And that is it. So we need to clean out these slots. Once we've got the slots cleaned out, this fingerboard is ready for refretting. Okay, just to show the binding now, I've removed all the nibs, I've sanded it down, so the binding now is super smooth along the whole length of the neck. You'll also see that the fingerboard is wet, and that's because I've sprayed it with lemon oil, mineral oil. I'm going to I'll put a lot in there. I'm going to let it soak into the slots, just to let the holes or the slots soften a little bit so it accepts the new fret wire easier. So that is, I'm going to let that sit until basically it dries, so an hour or so, maybe more, whatever. I'm going to blob on and do something else. I could also, if I wanted to, I could cut the frets, because I'm cutting each fret to the exact width. I'll show you more about that as and when I do it. How you doing, guys? I hope you're enjoying the weather. This is today, the weather is stunning. I've got a great tan already. I think, what's the date today? I haven't got a clue the date. Is it the 24th of April, I think, Friday. I've been out, I'll finish at Raw Mill today at 1 o'clock, and I've really nipped on with this guitar. I've got the frets, I've got the fingerboard re-radiused, all sanded, ready for the new frets. I've cleared the slots, and I've already cut the new frets. They're lined up in there, and by say cut, I mean I've cut them all to width. See if I can grab one out here. Not only have I cut them to width, this is fret number 2, I've cut the tangs. You'll probably see if I hold it in front of my hand there. I've cut the tangs just inside the binding, so these frets, each fret fits exactly where it needs to go on the fingerboard. You probably can't see from there. I'm not going to zoom in, I can't be bothered. I didn't film everything because I really cracked on with this yesterday. I just wanted to get on. I'm going to pull one out. This is fret number, let's have a look, 15, 17, 19, fret number 21. And you see, I've already cut inside the tangs there, so it fits perfectly inside the binding. They're pre-radiused, and I'm ready to start putting the frets in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to prep this one chipped area I've got to fix here. Again, I'm not going to film it. You've all seen me do this before. I haven't got time to film everything at the moment because I'm running 2 jobs. I'm running Fret Friend and I've also got my Royal Mail job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep the fingerboard ready, just fill with a couple of chips in. Once they're done, we are going to be ready to get the frets in. Now, the first 10 or 11 or so, coming up to fret 12, I'm going to hammer in because I am going to get these under the fret press because of the thickness of the body of the Les Paul. So I'm going to hammer this on. So what we're going to do is we are going to support the guitar underneath right up to about fret 14, 13. We'll hammer all these in, might even hammer 12 in. So we're going to get everything supported. We're going to hammer this lot in. The rest of them we're going to get on the fret press. And let me just show you where I'm thinking. I'm going to hammer this lot in, all the rest, this end are going to go in on the fret press. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to be doing, how I'm going to be doing it. I'm just going to, like I say, I'm just going to go and get everything prepped. And I will bring you back in and we'll crack on when I'll be done soon today. Guys, I've prepped the board. I've repaired some chipping around these areas here. I've also gone with my Hosco saw and I've carved into the slots to make sure we're all deep enough and we're right up to the edge. And these slots are now ready to accept new frets. So I'm going to set up the station. I'm going to get some frets lined up and I'm going to hammer this end in. I'm only going to do this end tonight. I'm going to do the other half tomorrow because I've struck up, well, I haven't struck up a barbecue yet. I'm going to strike up a barbecue in a minute. My wife's gone to get some bits and bobs from the supermarket there. I've got some steaks in the fridge. I've got a barbecue, I've got 2 barbecues. I've got a big oil drum one, I've got a small circular one. I'm going to strike up the circular one in a minute. We're going to get some meat on there, a couple of tinnies tonight, and relax. So before I do that, I'm going to get this first half done, come up to about fret 12, because I'm hammering these in, as mentioned before, and the rest I'll get ready to go in on the fret press tomorrow. So we're all prepped, we're ready to start getting the frets in. So I'm going to set up my station. I'll bring you back once I start hammering these things in. So, putting frets in, or hammering frets in. I have a body secured at this end of the bench, all protected, clamped, not tight. It's not tight, it's just holding. It's not doing anything structural, it's not pressing into anything. It's just holding the guitar there. Same at this end, nice and steady. We've got a nice firm base, nothing is rocking or moving. I have some tight bond ready on there. I have the frets ready here. I have my fretting hammer here. I have a bowl of soapy water and a damp cloth at hand. I have homemade spatulas I've made for spreading the glue on the fingerboard, like so. And this basically is how we do it. Those spatulas are far too wide for what I need right now, so another one, small one. And what we're going to do is all the slots are ready for the frets, so it's just a matter of getting a little bit of tight bond. Now tight bond, this is not to glue the frets in, this is a gap filler. So all I'm going to do is down the slot, just fill that slot with glue. And one at a time. Could do more if we wanted to. Take a damp cloth, give it a wipe, take the fret, line up the fret, get that where I want it. It's overlapping both sides, just tap in each side with the nylon end, and that's it. And then I'm just going to tap in the fret along the whole length. Don't have to go mental, no need at all, just gentle taps. That is one fret in. Could do with a different cloth, one for getting out any excess glue and one for drying. So there is one, grab another. We'll have a look at the fret, seated nice, just tap the edges. That is well seated, and same again, on to the next one. A little bit of glue, not too much. I could fill one on, I could fill more than one slot if I wanted to, go for two. I normally do these in 3s or 4s, it depends how frivolous I'm feeling on that day. I'm going to go for 2 this time. Put some glue in the slot there. Remove the excess with the damp cloth. Line up a fret one at a time. And again, gently tap with a nylon end. And from the middle, tap in. You don't have to go mental at all. Next fret, because I've already got the glue in there. Again, line it up. Make sure we're coming up to the edge. And there you go. 3 in. I'm going to go right up to a 12th fret. The rest we can put in on the fret press, which is a totally different procedure, which is actually easier. And we're just going to get the fret rocker, we're just going to check the frets as we put them in. Doesn't matter if we do rock a bit, we expect that a little bit. But they all seem to be seated nicely, they're seated level and straight. Very good, so I'm going to crack on, I'm going to get all these done. Once that's done, we're going to clamp these off. I'm going to put a radius block on the top, we're going to clamp them in, and then we're going to come back, and once they've dried for an hour or two, we're going to come back and get the rest in on a fret press. So guys, putting the rest of the frets in, the other half of the fingerboard on the headstock end. Now this end we can get to all of the area using the fret press. So we're going to press these in rather than hammer them in. I'm just looking for the top for my glue. There it is. That's great. So same thing again. I'm going to grab a little glue spreader. Can work a lot quicker this way. What I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue in the slot again. Do 2 or 3 this time at a time because we're pressing them in. It's going to be a lot quicker. Let's go for 3 while we're here. So we're just going to spread some glue into the slots. So while we're here, why don't we go for 4? Most I do in one go normally is 4. It's not an exact science, you know. The glue's not going to dry before I get all 4 in, so that's good. So there you go. 4 slots. Again, damp cloth. Cloth back in the water. Line up a fret. Tap in the sides. What we're doing is making sure that these fret ends are over the binding, and that's it. And all we're going to do is we're going to slide. I've got the neck brace there. I'm going to slide the guitar and the neck brace together. Frets underneath, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going with number 11, which is right here. And it's just a matter of lining up, getting central, and pressing in the fret like so. Really simple. Not a difficult job. That's it, that was this slipping off the fret. I haven't got it quite lined up. It does happen. Just tend to make you jump a little. You're thinking, oh, what have I done? I've snapped my neck. So let's put a little bit of a line in the fingerboard. We'll get rid of that later. That's the frets pressed in. Clean up the area. Bit of dry rag. And that's those 4 in. I'm going to grab the fret rocker just to check the level. Really high on both sides here. We're going to press that one in again. Normally does that man that one again. We could just tap them in. Check again. A little bit hung on that side, that's okay. And then we're fine. One more for good luck. A bit high that side. It does happen, but it seems to be seated okay. So we'll get that all done properly with the levelling later. That one again seems a little bit high on that side. Give them another press. Central, there you go. And there we are. Going to get the rest in. We've got 1, 2, 3, we've got 7 more to go. Won't take me too long. Once we're in, we're going to get the radius beam back on. I'll use a full length one next time. The 16-inch one will go across all of the frets. And we'll clamp them for a couple of hours. Right, a little bit of clean up. Then I'm going to turn the camera off, I'm going to crack on the rest of the frets. And see you in a little while. Hey guys, right, that's probably the noise across the road, but someone is steam cleaning a fence of all things. Not a fence, a kind of a wall. That's another story anyway. But anyway, where are we today? Right, I'm going to have to remove this pickup. Not remove the pickup, I'm going to remove the ring surround and drop the pickup inside the guitar, because we're going to be filing the edges of these frets to do the bevels. It'd be easy just to say we're going to do the bevels on these frets in a minute, so I need to remove this pickup ring. But you get the gist of it. So I'm going to drop the pickup off the ring, like so. Hopefully that will sit low enough inside. I'm going to tape up this. There you go. That's beautiful. Springs. Try and get the other spring out as well. Okay, the spring's decided it wants to stop in there. You can stop in there, it's no big deal. So that's low enough for me to be able to work on these beveled edges. Look at that, that's fantastic. Because what I'm going to be doing is, I'm going to be carving, I need a file, it's going to come across here. I didn't want it hitting the pickup ring and damaging the pickup ring. So what we are going to do is, we're going to set some more tape. We're going to build up this area, because a file, we don't want it scooting in or digging into anything. So we're going to make sure we tape up this edge. Overlap, get plenty of tape on there. Good thing about ripping the tape down the middle like this is we get to, we're doubling up. So what we're going to do is we're doing it there again. You see what we're doing? Getting plenty of cushioning on this area, because the file's going to be, I don't want the file to be hitting the wood and marking the binding or marking the guitar. So I'm going to build up layers, just a couple of layers here and there. I'm doing it by hand. I'll be taking my time, obviously. So there you go, that's enough build up there on that side. This side again. I think we should have enough there. Now we're going to be filing these edges. So what I normally do is I just tape up the binding, one layer of tape, just so when I'm filing here I'm not going to mark the lacquer or anything. So I'm going to crack on with that. A bit more tape down there. So the kind of scenario we're looking at, I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do next. I'll be taking a safe edge file like this. So there's a cut inside, there's a cut inside, these edges are safe, no cut on there. And now I can work across the body, right up to the edge of the neck, and I'm not going to mark anywhere on the body or these areas here. Just a matter of, now, I'm not going to be doing this where this just sat on the bench like this because you can see it's moving. We're going to get this in the vise and do it properly. You can see how we're working there. So that's showing you, just giving you a heads up of how we're going to be working. We're just going to watch what's happening in this area here because we need a lot of padding so we don't dig in to the wood on the guitar. So what we're going to do is we're going to pack this out again, like so, like so, and like so, just like that, because there you see we're not going to be digging into the wood there, and that gives me plenty of cushioning. So even though I've got the safe edge of the file there, and I can be filing away, and we're not going to be cutting into the body of the guitar. See how we're working there? It's going to be a lot easier once this is in the vise because we need to set the edges of these frets off and we need to bring a bevel over. But it will be scoring slightly the tape. So that's fantastic. So you know how we go in there. I'm going to get everything all built up as I want to get it all taped. We'll get this in the vise and I'll come and show you exactly how we remove these sticking out edges of the frets and we get that bevel in there. Once we don't level until we've beveled. The bevel's the first thing we do. We need to get right because if you play that now to rip your hand apart. So just to explain how we do these beveled edges, you see I have masking tape running along the side of the neck. Something you'll notice is ripped a little bit there and there. That's because I've already been filing the frets. And once we get too close, or we get closer to the edge, we start ripping it into the tape. Now that is not ripped into the binding, but it has ripped into the tape. And that is why we put the tape there, because we want to cut into the tape and not the binding or the lacquer. So it's just a matter of taking a coarse file, perfectly level flat file, and just getting up to the edge of the fingerboard. And when you see the tape flying off, you know you're very, very close to the edge. And then you slow down and you move along. So blah, 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 this is how it works. And that's how we get to the edge. Now, once I get right close to the edge like I am at the moment, I'll change files and I'll use this one. Again, another super flat file. This is a diamond file. Super flat from Chris Allsop. And I'm just going to start beveling. I'm not going to measure the bevels. I'm just going to do them by eye, and that's the sort of angle I'm looking for, about 15 degrees. And once I've got the bevel to where I just about want to be, I will then go and use the smoothest file I actually own, which is a Swiss made number 4 cut file. Super smooth but super sharp. And again, by hand, right up to the edge. Now the finishing, I will actually do the finishing of the edges with the tape. I'll remove all of the tape and I'll do it that way, but I've still got a little bit more work to do with the more coarse file. So I'm going to crack on with this, get right up, and once I'm where I want to be, I'll remove the tape and we'll finish off these bevels with a sanding block. So I will come back and show you that when I'm ready to do so. I'm now right at the edge. I've done the beveling. I've gone across with all 3 files, getting finer each time. And now that the edges of these frets are not protruding and I've got a nice angle of bevel, I'm going to finish off with some 400 grit sandpaper. And this is the easiest part. And this will remove anything the files have missed. Right, I've got to get that phone call because I've been waiting for it, so I'll be back later and show you the results. So sometime later, I had to take that phone call. It was the police. I had to give an interview about an incident that happened last week. Anyway, that's out of the way now. So I can't remember exactly where I was, but I just remind myself as much as anything. I filed all this as close to the binding as I can, and I'm just going to, it's a tiny bit sticking out. I'm going to finish off with 400 grit sandpaper. It's just a matter of smoothing it off, smoothing the edges off at this angle all the way along the length. And I'm quite happy with that, and once it stops making a noise, I know I'm where I want to be. And that should be more or less where I need it, and that feels pretty good. I don't think we've got anything sticking out. Once I round these edges over with a shaping file later, we're going to have absolutely nothing sticking out. So that is one side done. I'm going to turn the guitar over, I'm going to do exactly the same the other side. Once that's done, we can get the fingerboard all taped up and we can proceed to go and level the frets. With the edges and the bevels done, it's now imperative that I get the neck dead straight before we move on to the leveling. So I'm back on the bench. We have a not straight edge. I've just ever so slightly tweaked the truss rod nut there. It's under the tiniest bit of tension, probably 1/8 of a turn into tension, and the neck is now dead straight along the whole length. So with the neck straight, the edges done, the bevels done, we can now proceed to the next part of the process, which is the fret leveling. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to tape up the edges of the fingerboard again like I did before, then we're going to tape up the whole of the fingerboard, just leaving the frets exposed. Once that's all done, and everything's protected, we're going to level the frets across the whole length. Once they level, I'm going to recrown them. Now what's going to happen is, where we level them, this area along this length here is called the crown, and it's like that. When we level the frets, we're going to flatten the top, so we're going to actually have to recrown these. I'll explain more about that when we do it. So we're going to level all the frets. Once they're all level, we're going to come back and we're going to recrown each fret. That's why we tape everything up. Just so we're only going to be touching the frets and we're not going to dig into the wood. Even if we slip with a file or something, we're not going to dig into the wood. You kind of know how it works, and we're going to get that done. Once that's done, once we've got them levelled and we've got the crown done, we can move on to the next stage, which is the polishing. Then we're going to fit the nut, then we're going to set the guitar up, and it's all going to be ready. There is a lot of work that goes into a refret. It's not just about taking frets out and putting new frets in. There's a lot of procedures we must follow to get it right. End of the day, this guitar will be its owner's pride and joy, and we want to give him 20 years out of this for the money he's paying. It's not a cheap job, it's a £250 job. It takes a while, but end of the day, you're going to get 20 plus years of frets. So it's imperative that we do everything right, because I always say the most important part of a guitar is the neck. If the neck is straight and the frets are level, anything else can be altered and changed, but if the neck's not right, the guitar will never be right. So it's imperative we get the neck right, which means we get it straight, we get the frets level, and we have the truss rod working. Once that's done, like I say, anything else can be changed. We can put a new headstock on there, we can alter the body, we can change the bridge, we can alter the electrics, whatever, but it will never be a good guitar if the neck and frets aren't right. That's why I am Fret Friend, that's why I concentrate on frets and necks. Anyway, less of that. I'm going to get this all taped up, ready for leveling. Once I'm ready for leveling, I'm going to bring you back in and I'm going to show you how I level the frets. So leveling the frets, I don't have a set way. There are many ways that we can level the frets, or many methods you can use. A lot of people would say I wouldn't level frets using a radius beam, and neither would I normally. But the reason I am using a radius beam today is because I've already got 240 grit sandpaper on there. And I need to remove quite a lot of material from a lot of frets. Just wipe some of the marker off there. So I'm going to actually use this. I don't know why people say you shouldn't, because a radius is a radius. As long as you keep the radius beam straight, going backwards and forwards in a straight line, you're going to match the radius along the whole length. So I'm actually going to go with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the radius beam right in the middle, and I'm going to try and give it nice even strokes forwards and backwards. And because I'm experienced at doing this, I'm going to do it by eye, because I'll know when I've removed enough. But anyway, and we're going to have a look, and we're still leaving pen in these areas here, which means these frets at this end, we've still got some high frets at this end. I want to be removing all of the pen. So not pressing down, I'm not pressing down with any great pressure. So one reason why people say don't do this is because if we've got high that and we're going to remove in too much at one end, well we're not. We are actually going to be levelling across the whole length of the neck. And I can tell by looking down on the frets how much I'm removing. You have to work a little bit better, more at this end because you're doing a lot of frets in a short area, whereas here you're doing the same amount of frets in a longer area. Say for instance you've got about 10 there, but you've got about 10 in that. And we look like pen is all just about gone. Now I'm just checking this area. Quite a lot of flatness at this end, a little bit less at this end, but quite a lot here. So I think we're getting a good spread. Now if we get any particularly super high frets, I could go with this, which is a diamond file. I believe this is a, I think it's a 300 grit one. This one made by Chris Allsop. You can get his tools online on eBay. Check him out. Perfectly straight, beautiful file. This. We're just gonna give it some with this, just follow the radius and I can feel anything off. And that feels pretty smooth all the way along, so I'm going to brush all this off and I'm going to go across with the fret rocker and just check the frets. I'm thinking we're just about where we need to be. If we have anything particularly high, well, a little bit high there. This is called spot leveling, where we're just working mainly on one fret. Excuse me. Everyone knows what a fret rocker is. We check 3 frets at a time, and if we get a rock, we know the one in the middle has got a high spot. Now these are all feeling pretty good. Good thing about using the fret wire I use, this is quite high fret wire. It's not the highest, but it is quite high. It's 1.2 millimeters high. And it means I can afford to remove quite a bit. Even if I remove 0.2 of a millimeter, I've still got a millimeter of fret height, which is plenty enough. Got one high one there. Still a little bit high. There you go. Fret rocker, we turn the fret rocker to where we can just do 3 frets at a time. It's why it has 4 different lengths. Very happy with this. And that's it, the frets are level. So what we're going to do is we're going to pen again. And now what I'm looking to do is 2 or 3 strokes of the radius beam. I'm going to give it a brush. 2 or 3 strokes, that pen should be gone. If the pen is gone after 2 or 3 strokes, we know the frets are level along the whole length of the neck. There you go, all the pen is gone. So the frets are level. We're now ready to crown the frets. Just going to check the frets from here. They all look really good. So that's it, we are ready for crowning. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little bit of fall away from, I think I'm going to go from this fret here. So we're looking at 6, 9, 12, from fret 15 down to 22, we're just going to basically slope them slightly down, ever so slightly. What I'm going to do is stick that over there. Oh, get some good tape. What kind of tape do you want? Create a little bit of fall away. Get a straight bit there. Need that to be straight, so let's go there. A little bit of fall away from this fret downwards, so I think that's pretty good. I think we want to know what fall away is. Fall away is where you file a little bit of extra height there and you're filing, basically you're going to slope down. So take a little bit more off this end, a little bit less off this end. Creates a little bit of fall away, it just makes the action better at that end of the neck. We don't need to remove a lot of material. Probably not even going to hit that fret, which is fine. I'm just going to put some ink on there just as a reference. In effect, we're going to be going from about fret 17, so I'm going to take a different range block. I have one here. Again, 240 on there. I'm going to try and hold that, keep that in the same place. Could even still use this if I wanted. And that looks pretty good actually. So these frets from here onwards are getting progressively lower till we get right to the end. I think that is enough. I'm quite happy with that. And that's it, we are now ready to recrown the frets. Right, last little bit of work I'm doing on this guitar today because it's cracking on, it's getting towards, oh it's 7:30, now I've normally done it at 7. Anyway, we're going to do some recrowning. We're going to recrown the frets, and basically what we'll do is, because we've levelled them, we've flattened the tops and we need to rebuild that crown going this way. So I'm using 2 files for the job. First file I'm going to be using is my Z file from Stumac, stumac.com. This has got 2 cuts. It's a diamond file. It's got a long cut that side, short this side. I turn over 80 degrees. You've got a long side this side and short that side, so it's opposite. And what this does is this will carve over the top of the fret going that way. It will not touch the top, but it can remove more on one side than the other. You turn it over and it does the same again, and it will leave a nice thin line down the centre of the fret. That thin line will show us then where the string is going to hit the fret. We're going to basically rebuild that crown. And this is a great file. It costs £125. It's worth every penny, and it's just a matter of making sure the file is clean. Now I have made sure it's clean, and it's just going over the fret, few strokes. Turn it over 180 degrees, few strokes again. And you'll see it's making a nice thin black line down the centre. Not quite enough yet. Want it a little bit thinner than that. doesn't look too bad, quite happy with that. And then I'm going to use my other crowning file, which has already got the concave cut in there. Make sure it's clean. Over the fret again, edges, and just over the middle, just to remove any inconsistencies or any burrs. And there you go, a nice thin black line down the middle, showing that we've not removed any height from the top. We're going to stick the fret rocker on again, just check we've got no rock, and we have no rock, which means the frets are still level. Do exactly the same for the next one. Clean the file. Turn 180 degrees. Same again. Nice thin black line down the centre. Clean the file. Clean the file. Same again. Edge, edge, and across the top. Check with the fret rocker. No rock. Still see the black line there. And that's it. It really is that simple. This file saves me so much time. Again, clean the file. Last one I'm going to do on camera. Turn 180 degrees. Nice thin black line down the centre again. Clean the file. Clean the file. Edge, edge, and across the top. That is 3 frets done. We're just going to check the level, go back one, check that one, and go back one again. No rock, it means the height has been maintained across these 3. I've got the rest of the frets to do. I'm going to crack on, get these done. Once this rest of them are done, which will take me about another 10-15 minutes, won't take me too long. Once these are done, we'll be ready for polishing. We'll be polishing these frets up tomorrow. How are we doing, guys? This is a couple of days later after the first level, and I'm glad I've let the guitar sit, because I've come back and there are a couple of frets here not quite level. So with it settling, something has changed. So I've got it across again, make sure everything is level. Just a couple here with very, very slight high spots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-crown or re-profile some at this end. Now, today is Saturday afternoon. I've worked for Royal Mail today, as I do most days of the week, and I've been sat here waiting for a client to bring a guitar in. I opened the workshop again yesterday, and this guy's already let me down once, so I thought, you know, give benefit of the doubt. He told me a reason why he didn't come last time, and blah 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 blah, and at least he let me know. So this time I sat here waiting. He's not turned up again. I thought, no, this guy's messing me about. Anyway, I've just messaged him asking him if he's on his way. He says, no, there's something wrong with my car, I'm not coming today. I said, when were you going to tell me? He says, I just have. I thought, right, one of these. He says, no you didn't. I says, you've just told me because I asked. So I didn't give him a chance to respond. I've just said, look, I think you should go somewhere else. So I've messaged all my luthier guitar tech friends to tell them about this guy, tell him his name, and tell them not to take on any work from him because he messes you about. So Jacko Jackson, good luck with finding a guitar tech or luthier to do your work in the Midlands area. But it ain't going to be me, and it ain't going to be any of my friends. Anyway, back to this guitar. So we are level, the frets are all level, and we are ready for polishing. There's a couple of little jobs I've just got to do before I do that, and let's just have a look down here. Anyway, take my word for it, be level. I'm going to use a different file for crowning these frets at this end. They are crowned anyway, we just leveled them a little bit, but this one again is a diamond file, but this has got the crowning shape built in, and it's, I believe it's 100 it's a 300 grit, so it's going to be really nice, and it's just a matter of just over the top. Now you see here we're working over the body, so we need to just be careful. Great file this was a gift from a friend of mine, from Nigel Roberts, who you probably know as LeicesterShireLuthier.co.uk. Nigel's a great guy. What he doesn't know about guitars, you get on the, you can be able to write on the end of a pin, it's delivering from the Lord's Prayer. The guy has taught me so much, and he gifted me this file a few years ago, and I love using it because it reminds me of Nigel. He's a top luthier. He's retired now. His protege, or his apprentice, Danny Lint, has now taken over LeicesterShireLuthier.co.uk. .co.uk, and I've just messaged him about this guy who's let me down. It's one of the people I've mentioned. I've got a couple of other people to mention or to message as well. But anyway, so we're just going to do this. This is just going to recrown. Give it a nice thin line across the top there. And once this is done, we're almost ready to crack on with the polishing. The reason I'm angry about this guy not turning, I'm not even angry, but the reason it pisses us off when people don't turn up is I could have had someone else in today. I've had people waiting to bring guitars in for months, and I could have booked somebody else in and they could have come and dropped their guitar off today. Obviously we're gonna you know, work everything around the COVID-19 virus, and it'll be a case of drop the guitar outside, knock the door, stand back, and I'll go outside, we'll have a few brief words, and I'll bring the guitar in, the client will go home, and once I decide what I'm going to do with the guitar, I'll message said client, let them know what I'm going to do, and once it's all agreed, I'll do the work in a clean environment. When they come to pick it up, I'll make sure everything's wiped down, disinfected. I'll drop the guitar outside, I'll bring its case or put it on a stand. They'll pay me by bank transfer, they'll come and pick it up, they'll go away, they'll be really happy. And that'll be it. You know, that's how we're going to work this. I've got plenty of people waiting to bring stuff in. I have at least 11, crikey, is it 11 clients? About 11 clients want to bring guitars in. Some new clients, some old clients. I've got a new guy coming in on Monday. He wants to bring 2 in. He's bringing 1 at a time. He's coming in from Newark. So anyway, that's those frets level. So let's just check again from fret 15 onwards that everything's fine. So yeah, getting new clients all the time. I have opened the shop again. I'm still going to be not taking so much on. I'm going to keep it nice and steady. Just 1 or 2 guitars a week because I do work for Royal Mail. And, you know, I want to use my time wisely. And there's also other projects, my own projects I want to crack on with. So these frets are all fine down this end now. We're going to work backwards, check everything because this is the fall away area. So frets all level up to fret 16, 17, and from 17 down to 22 may slightly reduce in height from 17 to 22. It's what we call fall away. These frets are fantastic, but there's one more job I've got to do before I polish the frets, and that is we're going to round over or roll over the edges of the bevels. And that is basically just going to be a stroke with a file. I'll show you exactly what I mean in a minute when I get to it. I think there's 1 fret down here with a little bit of extra height on it. It might be fret 2. That's all fine there. Fret 3 is a little bit higher there. Fret 2 a little bit there. So fret 3, right in the middle. We're just going to take my leveling file. Fret 3 just in the middle, so I'm just going to work fret 3 until that resistance is gone. I can feel it, a little bit of resistance here. That should be pretty good. Then we've got fret 2 just on this edge here, so again, just working fret 2. And I can feel it right on this edge there, look. Give that a wipe, fret 3, and there you go. We're just going to check back 1 just to make sure it's not altered anything there, which it hasn't, and down to fret 2, and everything is level all the way down. So we're going to take the crowning file again, give it a wipe, over fret 3, give it a wipe, and look, you always get something when you give it a wipe. Fret 2. Oop, there you go, and that is the frets level, all done. So we're almost ready for polishing. We're not quite ready for polishing. I'm going to bring the camera in just a little if I can. There you go. What we're going to do is we're just going to roll over the edges obviously, because these are still a little bit sharp, but I will be rolling them over with sandpaper anyway. But what we're going to do is we're going to take my Swiss file, my number 4 cut file. That's a safe edge. This edge here, it's what I call a safe edge. There's no, it doesn't cut on there. And what we're going to do is we're going to roll over these bevels at the end. The bevels are these here, they're still a little bit sharp. And what we're going to do is safe edge down on the paper. We've got the fingerboard covered, and it's just a matter of rolling over, rolling over, and rolling over. 3 strokes, and that has removed that sharp edge. Again, nice and simple. Just to remove that sharp edge, and we're going to also roll this over with sandpaper later, but this is just going to really smooth these edges. So simple, don't have to be too heavy handed, nice and gentle. And that's it, so I'm going to do that along the whole length and this side. Once that's all done, we're going to come back and we're going to start to polish these frets. So I've rolled over the edges with a file. We're going to do exactly the same with some 400 grit paper. Really simple. We're just going to roll them over like so. Just to soften them up a little bit. Once this is done, by the way, I've already gone over the frets with some 400 grit polishing this way. But when I get to the polishing proper, I'm going to go through 6 grits from 600 grit through to 2000, so 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000 grits of paper. That's 6 different grits of paper, plus this we've already done, there's 7 grits. Then we're going to do the final polish using the finest grade steel wool or super fine steel wool. The reason we polish is 2 reasons: 1, to remove the scratches, and 2, to bring the frets to a beautiful shine. Now once we finish off with the 2000 grit, then again with the super fine steel wool, these frets will be scratchless and glass-like, super shiny and glass-like. Will be amazing. When we get to these ones on the body, a little bit more care, but we're just rolling them over, just removing any of the hard edges of the bevels. So again, this side would be easier for me to turn this around and do it. Exactly what I'm going to do. Same again this side. Steady the guitar, there you go. And we're just softening these beveled edges. Once we go over with 6 grits as well, it's going to soften them even more. You're not going to feel these when you play. Again, roll over. And that is all ready for polishing proper. We can just take this last piece of paper again. We're just going across, first polish. I've already done this, but we're just going to remove any. Now we've gone over these edges, we'll probably put some scratches in there that way. We're going to remove those again. Just working his way down the frets. This 400 grit is pretty well used now, so it's perfect for doing this. It's not too coarse. Keep wetting your finger so it doesn't keep slipping off. Otherwise it will do. This is not polishing proper, this is just removing those scratches at the ends there. So I'm going to cut myself a piece of the 6 grits, 600 through 2000, for the 2 inch by 3 inch by 1 inch piece. It'll do all 22 frets each piece. Again, wet the back. That's it. We're now ready to start the polishing proper. So I'm going to cut myself up some pieces of sandpaper, like I say, 3 or 6 grits. We're going to polish these properly. I will come back and show you the results later. So here's the reveal. The frets are done, been across with 6-7 grits of paper. I'm ready to peel off the tape, and these frets are spectacular. They are glass-like, they are smooth. I've been across with it, like I say, with 7 grits of paper, finished off with steel wool. They look absolutely superb. It's my favourite part, the reveal, and why would it not be? So the refret's done, the frets are ready. I'm just going to peel off the rest of this. Now you see why I put a strip of masking tape all the way along, because it enables me to be able to peel this off a lot easier. And there you see. All I really need to do now is get the nut sanded and fitted and filed. Doesn't yet fit the slot perfectly, it does need a bit of work. That's going to be the major job today. Because once I've got the nut in there and the nut shaped, it's all about just getting it set up. It'll be ready to go. This will be ready, I will finish this today. I've had a fantastic weekend. It just happened that last week was my Royal Mail was my Saturday off. This week was my Monday off, so I was off Saturday, Monday anyway. It was going to be a long weekend, but the great thing about the weekend just gone is that it was bank holiday last Friday. So I've had 4 days break from Royal Mail. I've reopened the workshop. I've not worked. I've not done anything in the workshop either, apart from work on this one, because I just wanted a break. And so this is my last day. Also my wife, who was furloughed, is going back to work tomorrow. She's working from home still, but I think she was furloughed for 4 weeks, which she's enjoyed, but she was just at the end of like getting to the point where she got a little bit bored, and the company she works for are going back to work tomorrow, so that's fantastic news. Not at the office in Nottingham, she's still working from home, but that has worked out rather well. So we've enjoyed the weekend together. We're both back at work tomorrow. I'm back working for Royal Mail tomorrow, 5-day week, as is normal. And Michelle will be working for the company she works for. So that's all good. But there you go. These frets look amazing. You probably can't see them exactly from where you are. I'm not going to oil the fingerboard yet, but these frets look wonderful. Wow, they're fantastic. So we've had a complete refret. They look so nice. Like I said, we went with the same size frets that were originally on there, so about 2.5mm wide and 1.2mm high. We'll probably go about 1.1mm height left. We're all rounded over. The bevel's done, they're super smooth. The owner of this guitar is going to absolutely love this refret. I pride myself on my fretwork. I love working frets and necks. It's what I'm all about. So that's it, that's done. So we need to get the nut on the go in a moment. When I find it, it's in here. Let's have a look where we are. It doesn't fit the slot yet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to file the nut on this side. Just a matter of getting some sandpaper on the bench and filing the back, because I want to leave the writing intact on the back, the Tusk writing, blah blah blah. And it's just a matter of getting the width right. Like I said before, I may completely recarve the nut slots. It depends how much height we've got. Well, I think we've got plenty of height there to recarve those slots anyway. But let's first get it to fit this slot. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. So I'm going to crack on with that, and I will come back once we've got it to fit this slot here, and we can look at then sizing and reshaping the nut. So really simple. The first thing to do was to make the nut fit the slot, and it does now fit the slot. And the way we do this is really easy. We'll lay a piece of 240 grit sandpaper on a flat surface. In my where I am, it would be on the other side of this bench. Once we're on a flat surface, we just basically sand the base of the nut, or this side of the nut, until we remove enough material for it to just sit beautifully in that slot. Look at that, how good is that? So now what I'm going to do is, we have an overlap each side of about, we've got a millimetre that side, probably just a millimetre each side. I'm going to get this in a vise. I'm going to take a file to these edges, and I'm basically going to trim this down until we fit the width of the neck perfectly. Not worried about where these slots are at the moment. I personally think these slots are a little bit too wide for this neck, but I could be wrong about that. Looking at where they are, we might just get away with it as it is. If it's about 35 millimetres, I'll be quite happy with that. I'm just going to get my caliper out. In fact, I won't get my caliper out. I'm just going to measure it with a rule, just for quickness sake, and just see where we are. I know I'm in the way, sorry about that. Okay, we are at about centre to centre. It is 36. It is absolutely bang on. Maybe I'd like to have been 35 and a half. I think we are going to get away with that. As long as the strings are inside the binding, which they are easily going to be. This is why I use short bevels on this edge. The bevel's only coming halfway inside the binding, so we're going to be absolutely fine with those nut slots. So all I really need to do is trim these edges off, make it fit at the sides. Once that's done, we can get some strings on, we can start cutting the depth of these slots. So really pleased with how that nut has gone in. I have shaped the edges and rounded over the edges as well. Fits superbly in my slot. It's right up to the edges. The base is flush with the shelf. Now the shelf was high in the middle, so it was rocking left to right. And all it is, I went in with a file, a nut slotting file, give a little bit of a scrape in the centre just to remove some excess material in the middle there. And we've got it sitting absolutely flush right down at the base. I've used super glue to glue it in there, a dab there, and a nice dollop in the middle. It's superb. It really doesn't need that much work. You can't see the number underneath now because it's under this part of V-like veneer on the top of the headstock, but you can see the tusk TUSQ. The slots are perfect. They're not deep enough yet, but what I can do now is we can get some strings on there. I've got to get the pickup in, get the bridge back on, and the tail piece, we can get some strings on and we can cut these slots. Once these slots are cut to the depth that I like, then we can reshape the top of the nut. So that is really all I have to do. So I'm going to crack on with that, and I'll probably just come back and show you the results. Just want to show my guitar before I string. We're just about ready for stringing up. I say that I am nipping out taking my dog for a walk any second now, but I've coated the fingerboard in lemon oil or mineral oil. Just to let that soak into the wood and just nourish the wood, and then we are going to be ready for putting strings on. You'll see I've got the tuner, the three-way selector all back in. I've got the pickup ring back in. Everything's ready to go. We've got the bridge, we've got the tail piece just over there in the pot. The nut is in. It's sat really nicely. So when I get back, I'm going to get my strings on. I'm going to get the guitar set up. I just wanted to show it as it is right now. Probably a bit too much oil on the fingerboard, it'll come out of the bottle really fast. But it's not going to harm it. I'm going to let that soak in. In fact, I'm going to leave that. We're going to take my dog out 20 minutes. I'm going to let that soak in and do its stuff. And once that's done, we're going to polish all of that out. Plenty on there. And that will treat the fingerboard. That'll be fine. The frets look absolutely fantastic. So this will be ready for strings when I get back. We'll get the strings on. All we've got to do once the strings are on is just cut the depth, the slots to the right depth. I'll go about 0.2 millimeters above the first fret on each string, probably a little bit more this side, a little bit less this side. Once that's done, we can get the setup done and the guitar will be ready to go out of the door. So finally we're ready to string this guitar up, but we're going to have to do a bit of modification to the nut to accept these strings, because we are going with a strange gauge. We're going with a 1052 set, and this nut would be cut for a 1046 set, so we're going to have to widen these slots. Now the good news about that is I have some brand new Hosco nut slot files, and I should have bought these years ago. And I've got this set of 11, and they're all different sizes, and the sizes will be on there somewhere. And I'm going to want, that's a 52, I'm not sure if I have a 52, I might just have a 56. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 56 and we're going to make the slot slightly wider than it needs to be. What we're first going to do is I could just take the 50, which is this one. I've not used this yet. I've used one on one string somewhere else. I can't remember which one I used, probably the 46. So what we're going to do is I could just take the 50, we need it to be 52. And what we do is we just basically, so that is tight. Take 52, like so, and we can just angle it and just widen that slot, like so. Just widen it by angling the file. See? Just like so, like that. And now that should accept the string. And it's got a little bit of wiggle room, there you go. And what I'm looking for is a nice low height above this first fret, but not too low. I'll be looking on this one, around about 0.3, 0.25 millimeters maybe on the low E, and 0.15 on the high E, and we'll gradiate it between 6 and 1 down there. Just going to have a go at that with the 56 when I find it. Here we go. Because there's nothing wrong with going a little bit wider, because what we don't want is we do not want the strings pinching in the slot, and that because that causes lots of tuning problems. So anyway, let's go on with the 56, and that's going to be a lot better. I need to cut these slots a bit deeper anyway, but there you go. That is beautiful, by the way. These are the Hosco files. First time I've used them. Cost me, I believe it cost me 120 quid. Got these from Crimson Guitars. I actually wrote to Hosco, I emailed Hosco, and they said, yeah, buy from Crimson Guitars in England. And that feels beautiful, and we know that that string is going to sit in there. And that's beautiful. So I'm going to crack on, get all of these strings in there, get all the slots cut properly, and we'll soon have this done. How are you doing, guys? We are all done. I'm not all done, I need to put my glasses on. Yeah, we are all done, and what a lovely guitar. I say we're all done, we're not all done. I've not done the heights of the pickups. I'm going to do that as I talk. So let me just raise these pickups up, and while I'm doing that, I'll explain to you what we've done. So this guitar came in, it badly needed a refret, which is exactly what we've done. I went with my regular wire, which is Syntom's Elite. The reason I use Syntom's Elite is it is the hardest nickel silver fret wire on the planet, as far as I know. It's 25% nickel silver. It lasts longer than any other nickel silver fret wire that I know of, because it's harder. And I've been using it for just over a year, probably used it for the last 12 or 13 refrets I've done, and everybody loves it. So that is that. So a couple of other things we had to do. I needed to level and re-radius the fingerboard, because that was a little bit skew width. We had a new nut on there, a new Tusk nut, Tusk TUSQ, a man-made derivative or a man-made substance that replicates bone or ivory. That's why it's called Tusk, made by Graftech. I'll just finish shaping that, that's on there, that's all good. And just check these pickups where they are. A little bit low on this side, a little bit high on there. The electrics are all fine, they've been tested and checked, no scratching pots or anything. That looks pretty good. If there's one thing we could do with this guitar, probably change the switch tip, because it did crack when I was installing it. I've glued it back together. It looks fine as it is. Everything's working, but that is it. Here is the guitar. It's a 2005 Les Paul. I do believe it's a standard. Don't quote me on that, but it looks like a standard. Nice weight to it, a little bit of mojo, a few scratches and dings there. It's been played, but look at the frets. Brand new frets. We'll remove the nibs. I went with the same size fret wire as on there before, just about 2.5 millimeters. Height on this is now, after leveling, about 1.1. Plenty of years left in that. Looks fantastic. So that is it. I will move on to the next project. Before I do, remind you of my website, which is facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. There's also fretfriend.co.uk. Check me out on there. You can find anything that you want. My prices are on there. What I do is on there. There's videos on there. There's information, what services I offer. The shop is fully open again. We are CV-19 or coronavirus aware, so we'll make sure we have no contact. It may be a case of you coming, knocking on the door, laying your guitar at the door in its case, or standing up, whatever you want to do. Stepping back, I'll answer the door, we'll have a little chat, I'll take my guitar in. Same thing when you return to collect your guitar, I shall do the same, stick it outside, either in its case or on a stand. Any payments, by the way, you want to pay, cash is not king. Bank transfer or PayPal is my preferred method. It means we don't have to exchange anything at the door. That's always good. But that is it. So until the next project, as always, I am Victor. I am your fret friend. And until the next time, God bless you. Be good to each other. And I'll see you in the next one.